Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live. And today we are doing a very important discussion on bullying. And we have a special guest with us, Ayden Kosko, who is our Miss Teen Canada Petite 2018-2019, and she's joining us. And there's a special reason why we have her on our discussion panel tonight. So before we start everything, hi Ayden, your microphone is off.
Is that better?
Yes.
There we go.
Hi Ayden, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So first and foremost, how are you doing? I know that like everything is back to normal in Alberta, sort of. So how are things with you and your family?
It's been good. They're back to work and so am I. So it's been good that we're getting out and about now and that there's like more interactions with people. I have my little brother that hangs out with some friends as well, which is good for him as well to see some friends. But otherwise, it's been pretty relaxing and pretty easygoing.
That's good to hear. So Ayden, I just want to congratulate you because you are the cover of Teen Magazine. And I've actually posted that on Facebook. I'm so proud of what you have accomplished so far. And there's so many things that will be happening for you because you're so dedicated and you've worked hard in your journey as a pageant girl, as a pageant queen, and as a model. So, I mean, I'm just so proud of all your accomplishments, and for everybody who wants to get a copy of the Teen Magazine, how can they get that copy, Ayden?
They can either message me or there is the Teen Look magazine on Facebook and Instagram. I can post it in the comments for anyone as well for their page. You can just message them as well, and then they can set it up from there for you.
Okay, that's good to hear. And so I basically would like to discuss a very important discussion. And right now we are live on Facebook. And I'm turning the phone on because when you're doing Zoom live, you don't really see the comments. So I just wanted to say hi to Vinita Arshi. Hi, Vinita. And Liz Palenzia Gabriel, who's the mother of Alexa Gabriel, watching us tonight. So hi, Tita Liz. Giving up shout outs to different people over this this production. So bullying has never been accepted in any way possible. And some of our girls have been experiencing this. And the main factor about bullying is that um, people are very jealous, and when they're jealous, they tend to try to damage someone's reputation because of jealousy. Some people are being a bully because they are not very well educated in people's situations, so they're not comfortable in differences, whether it's race, whether it's style, whether music entity, sexual background, all these kind of stuff. But people tend to not understand that when you bully someone, it creates a really bad situation for a person because not all people are strong to face bullying. And when you bully someone, some people are not able to handle this, and it can lead to depression, it can lead to suicide, and it can even lead to violence, because people tend to deal with different situations in different kinds of matters. And the reason why we want to discuss this is because of the fact that we would like to help out people who are actually being bullied. You know, I, for one, even in the age of 41, I am being bullied. I've never had the experience back in high school or university because I was in the popular crowd in high school. Um, but I remember in elementary, because of the fact that being half Filipino, half Italian. So, Filipino kids, their parents usually for lunch, they prepare lunch. They would give them rice because that's our main staple diet. So I'm just explaining to you my experiences about bullying. Um, and so I would have like maybe like a hot dog and rice. And Filipinos eat hot dogs with rice, or even like sweet sausage. It's like a Filipino delicacy, or even just different stews with rice. It's always with rice. So being in a school with a lot of Caucasian people and don't seem to understand about that. It's like, oh, is that a barbecue? You're having barbecue for lunch? Well, every kid, it's either their parents would prepare sandwiches or like fruit sticks, vegetable sticks, and stuff like that. So, like, people don't seem to understand. And back then, um, people are just getting adjusted to like diversity. So that was back in elementary. So high school was different because of the fact that like I learned to be more in control of what I want to bring to school for lunch. And usually I would just have lunch at school. I would buy food at school. So I I then I end up being in the mix of the popular crowd. But I do feel sorry for a lot of people who are being bullied. And I remember back then, like a lot of people who are like fresh immigrants who just came to the country, they've been being mocked on by other people, making fun of their accents, making fun of the way they look. Not about more about racism because it was very diversified, even though it's predominantly a lot of Italian um, people or a lot Italian Canadians population, but there's mix of like there's still Chinese, there's still Filipino people, there's still some African Canadian. So it's a very mixture, but there's always been a clique. And that's a different discussion now that I would like to talk about because that can lead to bullying too, right? So but I remember a lot of people, the person who's the most smartest person in class or something, they would always make fun of or they get to bully them so that the popular people, usually the jocks, the athletic guys, would bully the what they call nerds in school to do their homework and everything. Or they would like make them suffer. And I remember that I always feel bad for people like that. And then I remember also that there was some girls who were not really popular. Some of them were overweight, or some of them don't dress up the same as like the other people. Like they're not into like the signature clothes. And I remember like in high school, everybody had an Invicta bag. And if you don't have that kind of brand, I don't know if you know it, Ayden. Do you know Invicta bag?
No.
You never knew about Invicta. Invicta bag is like actually an Italian brand. And yes, I was a Gina back in high school, and I had a name called Flip Spice because like when the Spice Girls were very famous back then, everybody had a name, and I was in the Gina part of the group. So like my name was Gina Spice, Flip Spice, and yeah. So back in the days, everybody who had to have an Invicta bag, and then the girls have to have kind of like wavy hair, and like obviously if I don't blow dry my hair becomes a little wavy. That's part of being Italian. And then
Yeah.
like that spiky headband. So that was the deal. And then white eyeliner. That was the deal during my time. I know you wouldn't understand this, Ayden, because you're still young. And looking back in the times, if you don't have that kind of look or you don't carry those kind of items, it's like people make fun of you. And
Yeah.
I mean, I remember there was this two sisters who actually just came from India.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know how in high school, because I went to a Catholic school and we wear a kilt, but their kilt is like really long. And then they were wearing, instead of a golf shirt, because for us it's like a nice golf shirt with like really really short kilt. The shorter the kilt, the better. But these two were very conservative and they had like long kilt, and then they were wearing like long sleeves white shirt with a blazer on, and that was like so back in the 80s, the blazers. So, and it's blazers have been changed to cardigans. I don't know, because I have you experienced wearing a uniform in high school? You
No,
guys
we
don't
don't.
wear a uniform, right? So for us, we had to wear that.
Mhm.
And I remember, and they were wearing like really, really thick glasses, and they were so good in like algebra, calculus, and even sciences. So they were like made fun of. And I remember even in lunchtime, they had nowhere to sit.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to talk about myself into a way that people don't know. Back in high school, I had an inferiority complex as well, because of the fact that I tend to like put a shield on my own and really don't want to communicate. And whenever I feel the anxiety, I would always like put myself to myself, and I would go to the washroom. Sometimes I would even eat lunch there. I just don't want to be with anyone. And the only factor that I'm actually like talking or socializing with people is because I was part of the popular group. But sometimes I really feel also insecure with some of the people that were around me. But I was blessed enough not to have that kind of experience of how other people were being bullied. And I remember they always make fun of their accents. It was really bad, into a point where some girls were actually like chanting, making chants at them while they're like outside, and this was like during like the end of the school day when
Yeah.
people leave. And so how you have cliques who are actually outside of the school, and they would just sit there or they would just hang out. So different cliques were like have like a target of people that they basically would make fun of. And these the perfect example were these two sisters. When they come out, it's like the chanting begins, and it's like just thinking about it, it's like thinking about it, like how would they feel about this, living by it every single day of their lives, high school lives. And just to give an update, these two sisters actually, um, one ended up being a doctor for Toronto General Hospital, and one is actually a psychologist.
Wow. That's really
And
good. Um,
like, so I'm kind of glad that they've used that experience to get themselves up. But not everybody has a strong personality. And so I would like to say to some people that when you bully someone and you end up bullying a person that's really like low self-esteem, they can go to really bad depression And some people would end up being suicidal because they cannot handle it anymore. So it's really sad. Now, like I'm talking about bullying in my professional life because that's important for people to know. Because bullying doesn't choose an age, doesn't choose a creed, just doesn't choose personality. And a lot of even like public figures are being bullied, especially on social media or cyberbullying. And that's what I've experienced when I became a director of the pageant. And even when I was competing for the pageant, because I was not a typical Caucasian girl. I hope you don't mind me saying that, Ayden, okay?
No, it's all right.
Because during my time, people were not ready for um, a girl, a colored girl, to be a national representative or a national title holder. So because of that, again, because of differences and changes that are happening, so people who are not comfortable end up attacking you. And I remember I was attacked. This was when I was Miss Toronto Tourism, and this was when I was Miss Canada Globe. Oh, like, she's so fat. How could she become Miss Canada Globe? How could she become Miss Toronto Tourism? Stuff like that, where it affected my well-being as a person, and then I end up having eating disorders because I just wanted to fit into that mold. So being a director, I was also being bullied by other pageant directors, because I do my own job, and I'm always the type of person that I'm always so transparent that I always say what I had to say. So some people twist that and make it very scandalous for me and my pageant to look bad. And that's when people making comments on the internet, oh, MCGP is a scam and everything. But I always say there's always two sides to a story, because we have a lot of contestants and we have title holders who are in our system, like Ayden. Actually, oh, Ayden, yeah. So actually, Ayden, who finished her reign in 2019 and still part of MCGP. So, and we have other title holders who are the same. And why are they still with us? Because they know that we're not a scam. And second, we do what we do. So there is always a saying that you think doers are thinkers, or you do what you think, right? So people who always wants to twist stories around and discourage other people from entering pageant, they will know the reality, because if they decide to actually enter our pageant, they can see it, or who other people that have entered our pageant and entered other pageant systems, they can see the differences. Even when our girls compete internationally, they even say, oh my God, MCGP is actually like an international pageant. Because of what we do what we say always. So, but because some other directors don't like that, then they tend to make stories or make up things, and then they bully. And I know two particular people who have done this to me, and one is a current director of a teen pageant, who's also now a director of a Miss pageant, an MISS pageant, and one who was a director of another pageant, and then they had a big fallout. They used to be best friends, and then now she's teamed up with this girl who is the director of this teen pageant. So, and not the wonderful thing, but what really amazes me is this girl actually used to be a friend of mine. I thought we were friends, but I guess I was used.
Yeah.
And to the fact that she actually worked with me for a year and then learned how to do pageants through what I do, then decided after that year to do her own pageant. And then she started bashing our pageant to other girls. And she was actually trying to influence our reigning queens to quit and to join her pageant. First and foremost, why would a reigning queen do that when she has a contract? And what if she goes to that pageant? She gave up her current standing with this national pageant and they end up losing. Then she end up giving up an opportunity for her to actually be a good title holder.
Yeah.
But see, people don't see that. Some people play dirty and they just think of what is there for me to get. You know, what can be my advantage?
Yeah, exactly.
So, what is like, you know, without thinking, I'm stepping on other people's shoes, I'm stepping on other people's toes, and even to the fact that um, you're 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 bullying a person on a cyber on a cyber note. Thank God that I have faith in God, and I've always used that to give me strength and fight my battles. Because as I mentioned, if anything is done in wickedness, it will never succeed. And
Yeah.
that's been a true statement and saying, when the Lord knows what's in your heart and in your mind, and when the Lord knows that it's pure intention, no matter what, the Lord will not let the wicked win. And it has happened to me so many times. So again, if I didn't have that personality, that strong personality, and proper faith in God, I would have been quiet. I kept quiet because I was thinking, you know what, I'll just let them talk. But you know, I do believe that it's time to speak up when it's needed to, and defend what your territory is and what you really do.
Yeah.
So um, that's something that I've learned, and then it's still a learning process for me. And that was my bullying experience. Like I was bullied by different people. Even parents tend to bully me when it's things are not going their way, especially because knowing that they are Caucasian and I'm a minority, it ends up being that. So it's like racism and bullying. But again, I learned to stand up for myself and I learned to speak up, especially when I see that things are not being done properly to me or to my team, even to my title holders. Sometimes it does happen. And um, even in international pageants, when some of the Latinas, who are the majority of the girls in the internationals, tend to bully my girls, I stand up for my girls. And Ayden, you know that because I did it for you too. So, but let's talk about you, Ayden. Let's talk about first. Do you have any bullying experience? Like, were you bullied before?
Yeah, I definitely have been. When I was younger, I was anaphylactic to dairy and eggs. So even if it touched my skin, I'd go into shock and wouldn't have long life after that, and I wouldn't make it. So I was always skeptical and everything like that too. And that's something that people would target if something's different about someone. So that was definitely a struggle with that because no one else I knew was that like allergic to something or different like me. But I never really did anything because I knew I was stronger than that. And I'm not going to pick on someone for something that's different about them because I know that two wrongs don't make it right. But that went away when I was 10. And otherwise, there's been a few things. Everyone will always talk, and there's nothing you can really do about it but keep your head high. So I really try not to get involved, especially if it's something about me. Like, I will just say something like, this isn't right, and leave it at that. And if it keeps going, just keep saying, like, this isn't right. Like, I hope you know that. And just not involve myself in the wrong way.
That's actually amazing, Aiden, because in a young age, you learn to actually be able to stand up for yourself. But let me talk about something. So you became Miss Teen Canada Petite. Were there some jealousy around you or people in your school or anything, and then they end up bullying you?
Not necessarily bullying, but definitely talking. Like, even if I'd walk by a group of people and I'd be with some of my friends and they'd be like, oh, they just said something about your title, or they just said that you're this and this. I'm like, it's really whatever, because I'm not gonna involve myself. I would rather be a bigger person than go down to someone's low level like that and insult them too, because it's definitely not right. But I have way more supporters than I do haters, you could say. So I just look at the people who support me, look at everyone who's on my page who's commenting and everything like that, and that definitely helps keep my head high as well.
There's a saying, two wrongs don't make a right, and
Yeah.
for the fact that you're saying you have to be the big person, it just makes me so proud of you, saying that and having that kind of mentality for a very young girl. And I'm like looking at him like, wow, like the Ayden that I met before compared to the Ayden now is like big difference. And I just want to say, like, I could never be proud more and whenever from the person that you have become. So, like, more power to you. And I know God is blessing you because there are a lot of opportunities that are coming your way. So, and you've done a lot of things. And I remember even some people who are haters there were commenting because of you, like donating bath toilet papers and different stuff to different um, people and charities, and they're like putting a meaning to it. And that's what I hate most, like people always tend to find something so negative. And even when a situation is so positive, and it happened to even one of our girl who was donating school supplies. And again, the factor of you are what you think is always hitting the note. So, but the fact that you stand up for people who are aggressing you and bullying you is a good trait of you, because of the fact that, like, you choose to be a bigger person and you choose to move on, because that's the most important thing. A lot of people who are being bullied does not know how to move on because they don't have a support system. And that's the reason why we at the Miss Canada Globe Productions believe in sisterhood mentorship, because you might not be supported by your family, you might not be supported by your friends, or you might not be supported by your community, but you will always have sisters with you who share the same passion, share the same objectives, and who are there to support you like a sister. So now let's talk about something, because I know this was just recently. You stood up for a girl who's being cyberbullied. And this girl's not even a pageant girl, right? So can you take us back to how it was and what was going through, what really happened, what was going through your mind?
Okay, so it was like probably the beginning of April. I was just on Instagram one night and I was going through people's stories, and I seen this post that was shared onto someone's story saying report this account. So I clicked on it, and there is about like 10 photos of this girl. I have no idea who this girl was, but they made this account of her and were saying like horrific things to her in the captions with pictures of her that like you shouldn't even be saying to anyone, even writing it. So it definitely caught my eye, and I'm like, that's not right for someone to be just going down on someone so hard, pointing out flaws that they think they have and telling her like, you're not worth it, because everyone is worth it. So I posted it on my Facebook, and I was going through all the comments too, and people are tagging the RCMP, Vancouver, and everything. So I posted it on my Facebook to get more of my friends and people on Facebook's attention so that they can put a stop to it. The account was deleted 3 times, but it kept coming back up because the cops, they didn't look at the account at that time, but they just kept making a new account. So every time they made one, I just kept reporting it onto the cops page as well and on my Facebook. And eventually it did get taken down within about a week, and they posted that girl's number on that page. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to text it. So I texted her a message. I said, hey, you don't know who I am. I'm from Alberta. This is my name. And I just told her, you know, you're worth it. Like, you can reach out to me if you would like. I know you don't know who I am, but just know that there are thousands of people who are here for you that want you to keep this life, and you are definitely worth it. And what they're saying is not true at all. So the account did get taken down and everything. And I know that she did get through that because she's still here today, which warms my heart because I'm assuming that a lot of people texted her. And once that account got deleted, she did get a lot of reassurance as well, which honestly warms my heart. So I tried to do my part, even though it was very minimal, by sharing it and everything. And I'm glad that it actually worked out.
And I am so proud of you doing that. First and foremost, the girl was First Nations, right?
Yes.
So this actually, and even to a pertaining story that we have recently, was one of our queens who's also First Nations. And we're being bullied. There's 2 of them actually. One is from Nunavut and one is from Alberta. And just to say, it's just, I can't even believe that even bullying like happens within First Nations. Like a First Nations girl would bully another First Nations girl. And it's just not right because there is a high risk of depression and suicide in that community. And it's just not right. But like, I mean, I'm glad that the girl is like, is still on earth and is living, and I hope that she feels loved with everybody. And I'm hoping that you actually have a good relationship with her and maybe encourage her to be in the pageant and and have that experience of confidence, because confidence does make a difference when you're being bullied, you know.
Yeah.
And I can't even believe when I saw the pictures of that girl and the way how her attackers were saying, "Oh, you should end up your life," and this and that. Like, who are people to say that? You know, we are given life by our Creator, and even us don't have the right to take out our own lives. Only God can do that in the right time, and when it's the time that is given by God for you to leave the world. You know, it's only Him who can actually make that kind of decision. And for a human being to say something like that to a fellow human being, and like girls, these girls, these were coming from girls bullying another girl. It's so unacceptable, you know, like, and I really don't condone cattiness and all that kind of attitude. And people know that about me during the pageant because I never promote people to be catty with one another or be vindictive of one another. That's why it's always been our mission about sisterhood mentorship program, because we believe that sisters are sisters. And I'm just glad that like God gave me that mission to actually have in the platform of MCGP, because I just can't imagine girls putting other girls down. You know, when we should be supposed to empower each other and support each other, you know, but again, I don't know how girls can be so mean sometimes, you know, and like, And yeah, they can say, oh, it's just nature of girls being like so jealous and like claws out and catfight. No, because God didn't create us to be like that. God created us to be good social human beings and to care for one another. Whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're from a different religion, the basis of goodness is what's being taught in a religion, which is um, the golden rule. Do unto others what others would like to be done unto you. So, and there is a cycle. You know, people always think that, oh, yeah. And I always remember this because whenever I'm attending high school reunions, and I see those people who were bullying people and to where they are now, some of them are a disaster. Some of them are divorced. Some of them have alcohol problems because they have put themselves so high in the pedestal to make other people look bad. And they can no longer maintain that stature when they're growing. People have to accept that people do grow up, people's life change. We're like in a circle, in a wheel. You can never always be on top. That's why we always say to people, when you're on top, always be good to people who are around you, so that when you go down, somebody will pick you up right away, or somebody will be there to pick you up. It's the law of gravity, and it's the law of karma. And I'm always a firm believer of that, you know. Um, and again, I'm so proud of you, Ayden, for doing that. And being a leader, you just showed your leadership skills because not only because of you being a pageant queen, but it's your mission as a public figure to make a difference in someone's life. So I congratulate you for doing that. I congratulate you for inspiring your fellow sister queens and pageant sisters to help you out in that kind of cause. And kudos. And kudos to your parents because they've raised you well to be a good human being. Because
Thank
nowadays, human beings are so hard, good human beings are so hard to find
Yeah.
because our world is so corrupt and our world is full of like greed. That's what makes people really bad. That's why wars happen. That's why fights happen. And that's why bullying is happening because we are never satisfied of who we are as a person. We tend to want more and be above more than other people. That other people will hurt other people so they can advance themselves. And also, some people fail to realize that. I don't know if you see this, Ayden, but some people who are being bullied, they end up being a bully themselves. And
Yeah.
to those people, you don't, God didn't give you the right to put justice in your own hands.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you don't bully or put misery to other people because someone did that to you.
It's exactly
And
like the rights don't make a wrong, or two wrongs don't make a right. It's the
yeah,
same.
and you did that. You basically chose not to put the situation into your own hands. You chose to become a bigger person and you use that to advance yourself. So, to all the people who are being bullied, number one, you have to really love yourself. Even when people don't love you, you need to put your care about yourself. And number two, remember that I'm not being a preacher here, but whoever's your creator made you the way you are. And because he made you the way you are, you have a right to live in this world. to be who you are for people to love you. And if you don't get that love from other people, don't ask for it. Love yourself and be on top of things to make yourself the better version of you. That's all I can say, right? Because when you keep it all in, all the things that you've experienced, all the negativity from other people, and then you choose that to give it to other people, then you're not being a good person. You're just becoming like the people who have hurt you. And it could even be worse. I know that from experience because even in my past relationships, I had someone who was a bully, who was being bullied. And now he's a bully. So, you know, but always think that there is a God, there's a living higher being that is more powerful than all of us. And he's not blind. He knows what's going on. And you need to have your faith. You need to put your faith and you need to surrender everything, all that pain, all that anger, all the things that you're feeling because of what was done to you, to that higher being, so that he can be the one who can protect you. You know? And when you do that, you will see a big difference. When you start loving yourself, I know it's hard to say. And some people say that's easy for you to say. No, because it's not easy to love yourself because we are not our own mirror reflection. We are not our own mirror reflection. We cannot see ourselves just by ourselves. So you have two reflections, the negative side where people are treating you bad. So with that, you have to actually choose to turn that around and make yourself better. Strive for excellence, right? And the other reflection is the one that's coming from the people that really care about you. It could be your family, it could be your mentor, it could be your teachers. So even if your family was not a good mentor to you, teachers or someone that there will always be, God will never give you a person that will not love you. There will always be people around you. God will always give people around you that will care for you, who will give you unconditional love. Because there's a saying, God is love, right? So God has given his unconditional love by actually giving his son, Jesus Christ. And I know, again, people might think I'm preaching, but that's actually a fact, to save us from our sins. So, and have eternal life. So he has also given people in your life and would bring it in your life path to care for you. Because not everyone in the world is bad. Not everyone in the world is mean. There are people who still have goodness in their heart. And with the pandemic that's been happening and what's been going on with racism and government and everything, one thing that I've learned is that faith is the most important thing that a person can really have, and the love of your family.
Exactly.
Because when you were in quarantine, who was around you, right? All your family.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a family, I'm sure there are people who are calling you, messaging you, asking you, are you okay?
Yeah.
Or how are things? That means love. So that's my advice for all the people. But what I'm asking people is that please, if you are bullied, don't be a bully yourself. Don't be a bully yourself. Because if you try to do that, try to always remember what people have put you through. And do you have the conscience of actually putting other people of what have people put you through?
Exactly.
Don't be that repeating cycle. Don't. Be a difference. Be a difference that the world needs. Ayden, what do you have to say so far? Like, tell us, like, what do you think?
Honestly, that if you're going through something, you have to reach out, because keeping it to yourself isn't going to go anywhere. Reach out to friends, family, anyone. There's always websites too that you can talk with someone anonymously if you don't want anyone else to know. But definitely know that there is always people who love you and support you and want you to stay on this earth, and that you aren't ever alone. So reach out, know that you're loved, and don't give up the fight, and just keep your head high.
And the kids' health phone, it's actually not just for kids. There's actually adults calling as well. And I always say to people, call that because these um, people or these agents who are answering the calls, they were trained to be of an open-minded person. And they're not biased because they don't know you. Their job is to listen and to open up and be a sponge of what you're feeling to be there for you. So I highly suggest if you're feeling low, if you're feeling like it's just the world is just too much to handle, like always pray. And number two, kids' health phone or see a psychologist, see a psychiatrist. There's nothing wrong in seeing psychologists and psychiatrists. It doesn't make you a bad person and it doesn't make you a less person as well. So, you know, that's what I can say. And talking about um, bullying, it happens in the police force. Systematic racism, which we've talked about a few days ago. I've talked about it with other girls in the panel. How they are bullying First Nations people. So, and they took an oath to serve and protect. But unfortunately, we live in a society where there's hate. There is hate and there's jealousy. And I know some people might hate me for saying this, and especially to the United States of America, because I know we have people watching there. If you have a leader who's teaching you to be greedy, to hate people for who they are, and social and racial profiling people, please don't vote for him. Please don't vote for a leader that is like that. Because let me tell you something, it's not who's just you who's going to receive the consequence for that, but future generations. And Canada and America, United States of America, are both the same land of immigrants. And again, the Caucasian people are basically and again, Ayden, please excuse me for saying that. You're not the first people in the land of Americas. It's the indigenous people. They own this land. And we all came to their land to fulfill the American dream.
Which is exactly true, because all my family descent is from Europe too. And I know a lot of people don't understand that they're not the first people here. But I definitely educated myself with that.
Because nowadays, who's really a true Canadian?
Exactly. Really, none of us.
Who is a real Canadian? It's like, oh, she's not a real Canadian. Who are you to say that? Because the person was not born here? Well, your ancestors came here.
Right? Exactly.
And I hate to say it, we stole the land of the indigenous people. This is their land, but they were kind enough to share it with us. So it's just not right for people to treat them bad or treat other people bad in the minority. And again, I'm just saying it to everybody. Like, we are a land of immigrants, and our economy is based on immigration. Because the people who are working in the lower end jobs, who are the immigrants that came to this country, and they were like back home, they're like doctors and they're like nurses, they're like teachers, professionals. But because our government does not respect their education back from their countries, they had to start somewhere. And in order to get that Canadian working experience, they're sacrificing and swallowing what they were back from their old countries and work a minimum wage job to provide for their families and for our economy to be so strong. Because without these people working the minimum wage jobs in factories and fast food, cleaners and everything, we won't have an economy, because we won't have any products or things to sell to other countries. Like, it's like a chain of commands, like chain of purpose in life. And God made it that way. We need these low people, like not low people, but like, I'm so sorry how to word that. We need these people who are working in low paying jobs in order to survive, in order for our economy to survive. And for them to have a good chance to have the money so they can go back to school and be the person they were in their home countries. And if they don't want to do that, because sometimes they feel like, oh, I'm old enough, I'm already too old to go back to school, which I believe you're never too old to go back to school. Age is just a number. But you can actually have your future generations have a better life. So they can go to school and they can have a better life for themselves. Because no one in Canada will stay in the very low system. That's up to us people, how we want our lives to be lived and how we want to improve our lives for the better. And I don't know, there's a lot of homeless people there out here. But the government also supports you into a way where if you want to look for a job, if you want to change your life, there are ways. It's up to your decision of if you're ready to start the change and how you want to make it happen.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for the girls.
Exactly.
If they want, if you want to improve yourself, if you want to better yourself, the best way to do it is entering a pageant because it's a confidence level builder. It's a personality builder. And I believe that when you enter a pageant, it develops you to become a better human being because you are always taught to be humble and learn to love yourself. So um, again, it's up to our choice and be out of the comfort zone. Now, for people who are being bullied, it's your choice to walk away and make yourself better. Stand up for you and gain respect from people. Don't beg for respect. Demand it. You can gain respect by demanding it. So,
Exactly.
Ayden, thank you so much for joining me in this discussion. Any ending words?
Just reach out to anyone that you're friends with, family, and just keep your head high because there is people who love you and who want you here. So just remember your worth and remember that you're given this life, and don't try to give it up because there is everyone here who supports you too. And we are here too if anyone does need to reach out as well. But keep your head high and know that 2 wrongs don't make it right.
Well said, Ayden. Well said. So I'm so proud of you. It still awes me that words like that would come out to you. It's like, and she's only how old?
I just turned 17.
17 years old. So that's what pageantry does. And I'm glad that you have said that and keep changing people's lives, keep inspiring people's lives. And more power to you, Ayden. And to all our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. Join us again for a different topic. It's called the new pageant norm. And I'm sure you would like to, you don't want to miss this because we will be giving out information on what are going to be the changes in pageantry due to this pandemic or COVID-19. So again, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Maya Santana Pilar, the Executive Officer of Miss Canada Globe Productions. Wishing you a good day, have yourself a good night, and have yourself a good weekend. God bless. Thank you.